Hello everyone. We're starting something different today. We're going to try a video, audio, and a slideshow and see if, I don't know, that's better. If you like that. It's time for something new anyway. Hope you're all doing good. Anyway, we're starting a new unit today. Today's cell division, reproduction, and genetics. We're going to take this to the end of the year, which is only a couple weeks. Now, I'd like to start this unit off by asking this question. Where do cells come from? Think about it. You started off by being one cell. You were a fertilized egg. Now look at you. If you remember from February, we learned that the average human has about 40 trillion cells. 40 trillion. You started out with one. Where did these cells come from? Want to guess? Okay. Basically, cells come from other cells. Okay? Cells divide. First they grow, and then after they grow, they divide and make two cells. Those two cells will make four cells. Now another question is, where do the materials to make those new cells come from? Remember, matter cannot be created nor destroyed. Remember that one? We learned that in the last unit. Actually, we learned that in physics also. If it can't be created or destroyed, it has to come from somewhere. So where did the materials to make new cells come from? Now, we had a quiz a few weeks back, and there was a question, this question actually, and 27% of you said it comes from your mom. The materials that make new cells in your body come from your mom. I'm not sure how they come from your mom. I don't know if you ask your mom for new cells. Hey, I'm growing today. Can I have some new cells? Sounds a little weird, right? That answer obviously was wrong. What's the right answer? Well, think about it. You get these materials, you've been getting these materials all your life from the things you eat. Okay? Again, elementary school, you learned that you eat for energy. But we expanded on that this year. You eat to get the materials to make you. Okay? Remember, all these atoms that make the molecules inside of you, these things have been around since the beginning of time. We're talking like the beginning of the universe, which is actually another question on that quiz. So your cells are not, well, your cells are as old as you. Some of them are brand new. You're making new cells every day. But the materials that make up your cells, the molecules, the atoms, those atoms have been here, not since you were born, but since the beginning of time, okay? And all these atoms were in other different things before you. And before that, different things. And before that, different things. So now, they're inside of you, and you get these materials every time you eat. So you eat for energy, and you eat for gaining materials to grow and create new cells. Now, on the same topic, we were talking about producers also in the last chapter. How do they get their materials? Basically, most of it's from carbon dioxide. The carbon in carbon dioxide helps make molecules, sugar molecules, in their bodies, okay? Whether they're grasses, whether they're trees, whether they're shrubs, and that is how they're made. So about 80% of their materials come from the gas, carbon dioxide. Us consumers, we basically get it from the food we eat. Now, this leads us to this thing called the cell theory. The cell theory says three different things. All living things are made up of one or more cells. Cells are the basic unit of structure and function of all living things. And cells arise only from other cells. Now, the first one we learned, in January, we learned the 6 characteristics all living things share. One of them was cells. All living things have one or more cells. This virus that's keeping us at bay and making us all stuck in our houses, they're technically not even living. That's not even a cell, okay? But living things do have one or more cells. Bacteria, those are living. They're single-celled. The second part of this theory, cells are the basic unit of structure and function of all living things. That also was in that chapter, the 6 characteristics all living things share. Last thing, cells arise only from other cells. That is something new. But you probably learned this before. You probably heard this word mitosis, okay? When cells split to create other cells. So cells only come from other cells. And again, the materials to make new cells come from the things we consume. So, cells make up tissue in multicellular organisms. So, basically, multicellular organisms have this stuff called tissue, which are basically the same cell, same type of cell, and it makes different functions, different tissue that have different functions. So tissue are groups of cells that have similar shape and function. So we're just going to go through some pictures of tissue in humans. We have muscle tissue. Now if you look at the cells in muscle tissue, it looks very different from the cells in the bone tissue, which also look different from liver tissue. And then we're going to look at some brain tissue right here. And right here, I figure I'd switch it up a little bit. We have vascular tissue. These are in plants, okay? Vascular tissue make up the pipes in plants, the pipes that water travel through, glucose travels through. So all these tissue that we just looked at are made of the same type of cell. So there's different types of cells with different functions. And a collection of the same type of cell performing a certain function is a tissue. If we took two or more of these tissue together, that would create an organ, okay? And not today on the video, but when I give you the PowerPoint, you will have the opportunity to build a organ, this app that's in front of you right now. But we'll talk about that some other time. Now, when tissue is cut or torn, it can be replaced by new cells. You all know this, okay? You've fell and cut yourself, or I don't know, had a paper cut. And basically what you're doing is you're severing certain tissues, cells. It could be skin, it could be blood vessels. It's usually blood vessels are involved with this also. If you see blood, you sever blood vessels. Now, you've all recovered from those injuries. Had you recovered from those injuries? Well, new cells replace the old cells, okay? And where these new cells come from? This thing called mitosis. Mitosis is cell division in eukaryotic organisms, and when cell reaches a certain size, it'll divide, creating an identical cell. So why would you need mitosis? Why can't we just keep the same cells we have in our body? For instance, me, I stopped growing, okay? I'm a mature adult. I'm not growing anymore. Why don't I just keep all the cells I have in my body? Well, there's a whole bunch of reasons to create new cells, including the example we just used. If you do get cut or a bruise, you need to replace those cells. So mitosis kicks into action and you heal yourself, creating these new cells. And there's other reasons for mitosis. Can you think of them? Growth. Okay, you guys are 13, 14 years old, you're all growing, okay? You need new cells for that. Your bones are growing, your muscles are growing, your organs are growing. So you're constantly creating new cells through mitosis during that growth. You're replacing old cells. Every single day, you have millions upon millions of cells dying. And it's all right, they're supposed to die. And you're replacing them with new cells. Blood is an example, great example. You're constantly replacing old blood cells with new blood cells. That's why you're able to give blood, okay? There's these things called blood banks. You could give blood, a pint of blood, and it's all right because you're creating new blood all the time, through mitosis. Okay, you also replace damaged cells, and we just talked about that in our example a few seconds ago. Now, think about this. Here's a couple examples in front of you. There are 225 billion cell divisions in your body each day. Now comprehend that. Mitosis happening 225 billion times each day. And again, what are the reasons? Well, there's a couple examples in front of you. 35,000 skin cells die each minute. Did you realize dust is made out of dead skin cells? Red blood cells replicate 2 million times per second. 2 million times per second. That's a lot of mitosis going on. Nerve cells, they actually stop replicating when mature. That's why if you sever certain nerves, you might not be able to regain feeling or touch, okay? Because nerve cells don't go through mitosis and regenerate like other cells do. Skeletal and cardiac muscles, they don't divide much either. And it's cancer cells. Cancer cells actually replicate just like healthy cells. So we're going to stop right there, okay? And I'll show you the slide presentation probably tomorrow with a video, okay? Don't forget, if you guys are missing certain assignments, make sure you get them into me and email me with the name of the assignment when you finally submit it, okay? Because I'm still taking in all these late assignments. And if you ever need any help, just throw me an email, or if you want a video conference, that's no problem either.